Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Now in the previous videos on the dictionary series we've looked at what the VBA dictionary is and how it works. In this video I'm going to show you how to code a typical example that you will see in the real world. So what is the task? This task is to produce a totals report from the data that you can see on the left. And you can see the result that we're expecting on the right hand side. So for example, you can see that the total for customer Kimberly Bradley is $605,547. So the reason we use the dictionary is so that we can easily retrieve the customer ID that already exists. So like if we use an array, for example, we would have to read through all the items to find if the customer ID already exists. Now, if you've seen my video on which Excel VBA method is the fastest for summing data, then you'll know that the dictionary method was the winner in a tight race with the pivot table. So let's go ahead and look at the code in this example. So you can see on the screen, I've written some skeleton code. So I've got a function called read data, and it's a function because it returns something. And we've got write dictionary, and this is the one that we're going to be writing the dictionary from. So what happens is the read data basically fills the dictionary with data, it gives it back to us, and then we give it to the write dict function, and this writes out the dictionary. Now the reason we keep them separate is it gives our code some flexibility, and if how we read the data changes in the future, then write dictionary is not impacted. So whenever we use the dictionary, we must use the scripting runtime reference. So this is for early binding. If you want to learn about late binding, you can look at an earlier video. So we make sure that that one is checked. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to go to our read dictionary and read in the data. So that's the first thing we want to do. And so we declare our range, RG as range, and we set the range equal to sheet data. So sheet data is the code name of our worksheet. And then we say A1, and then we say current region. So what the current region will do then is give us back all the adjacent data. So then we create our for loop, and what we want to do in the for loop is we want to read all the rows and we want to read the data from each row as we come to it. We don't have to do this. What I'm doing here is just to make the code more readable. I'm creating some variables and I'm just going to read the values into the variables. So when we do our stuff with the dictionary a bit later, it is very clear what we're doing. So as normal, we get a value from when we're reading through a range, we use cells. It's going to be I because it's the current row, and 1 is the column. Now you can see that amount is 4 and volume is the 5th column. So again, we're just going to copy the code kind of similar to what we've written above, and we just copy this one and just paste it here. And we can do that below. So it's very easy to kind of update our code like this. You can see that it's quite straightforward. So now we make these 4 and 5 because they're going to be the columns in question. So we compile the project, everything is okay. That means we've got no errors, at least compile errors. And now we want to go on to what I talked about earlier. So the first time we get to a customer ID, we want to see if it exists already, because if it does, we want to add to the current value. So we use the dictionary exists function, and we basically say, does this key exist? So the key in a dictionary, if you've seen before, is basically the unique ID, like in a real world dictionary where a word is the unique ID. So if it exists already, what we want to do is we want to get the existing item. So we basically get the item at the key. Now the item is an OCustomer. So OCustomer is a variable which is a class type of CLS customer. And we use a class for two reasons. Basically, it allows us to group all the variables together for one person. And the second reason is that we can create a new one as we need it. So we basically just create new memory as we need it. So we can't do this with just standard variables. As you can see, if it's true, we just get back one we've created already. But the first time we meet each customer ID, that customer ID isn't going to exist. So we create a new record for it. So that's our new class object, which is essentially a record. And then we add the key and we add the customer. Now I'll just change the key in a minute because the key is actually customer ID, but just to show, dictionary add key and customer. And in both cases, O customer will be referencing the current record. And so once it's referencing the current record, we're basically saying customer equals the current amount and plus the amount we've just read. So whatever was the existing amount and the amount we just read. Now if it's the first time we read a record, then it's obviously 0. And the same thing with volume. We're basically saying customer volume now equals itself plus the last volume that we read. So we just do debug compile. You can see that the key should be customer ID. So we just put in customer ID and debug compile is fine. So now we're down at the right dictionary. So what we want to do first of all, before we actually get to writing it out, is we're just going to write the dictionary to the immediate window. And this allows us to easily see if the data that we're writing out is correct before we have to worry about putting it in the right row and anything like this. And so the beauty of the immediate window is we can just write out a line. We don't have to say what row, what cell or anything. We just write out a line and we'll just check if our data is okay. So we start with amount and then we're going to write out the customer volume. So you can see again, we use the O customer, which is a type of CLS customer. I'll put that, you can see it just above. And then we just set that to the value at the current key. So we're going to go ahead and run this code and we'll just see exactly what happens. So we ran it and you can see that in the immediate window we have our results. So let's delete these results and let's go ahead. We run it again. I always like to run it twice just to make sure the data didn't exist. And you can see that it's printing out values that look good. So let's compare it to the values I created already, just to make sure that what we have is actually valid. So I'll just make this a bit smaller. I'll just drag the immediate window across. And you can compare the two sets of values. And you can just see things like 605547, 660 in the first row. And so we delete that data because now what we want to do is get on to writing it out to the worksheet. So the good thing about this kind of intermediate step is that once we know that it writes out to the immediate window, it's not like a huge jump to write it out to the cells. So then we can worry about the rows we're going to write it to and the actual range we're going to write it to. Now we're just going to start the range as being, say, the cell in the position, say H2 for example. And then we're going to write the data here. So we just say the current region, and then we can just use this range. Now we push it down 1 using offset, because what that does is it means we won't clear the headers. So we just leave the headers there, but by just doing offset 1, it moves it down 1 row and then just clears the content. So what we do then, every time we write it out, we add 1 to the row. We've set the row to start at 2. And now here we're going to add, instead of the debug print, we're going to add the actual lines of code that will write out the values. And you can see we're just saying row, which is the current row, column 1 equals the key. And then the other ones are going to equal values in the customer. So customer amount. So you can see it's quite easy for us to change from the immediate window to writing out, because it is really a simple report in this case. The only difference is that we're tracking the row. We'll just update the columns 2 and 3. And then let's go ahead and run this code by pressing F5. And here you can see the results of our code. So you've got exactly what we wanted and everything adds up as it should. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you'd like to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button and hit the button beside to get notified of any upcoming videos. And if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thank you and see you on the next video.